12 ridiculous jobs King Charles III asks his staff. Hello and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we will be presenting 12 ridiculous jobs that King Charles III asks his staff to do. When it comes to ruling the United Kingdom, King Charles III has a lot of help from his hard-working staff. While it's understandable that this royal ruler requires some extra help to keep things running smoothly, some of these jobs are simply confusing. Before her death, the late Queen had over 491 full-time employees working for her. Though King Charles III made a few changes, the majority of the late Queen's staff continued to serve His Majesty. It's also worth noting that King Charles III currently employs 28 people in his household, including 4 chefs, 5 house managers, 3 valets and dressers, and a few butlers. With so many employees working for His Majesty, let us look into what jobs he asks them to do. Number 1. The desk should be cleared. Not long after King Charles became the king, a video went viral on the internet. It was during the ruler's accession council that King Charles III expressed his frustration at a staff member. He pointed the staff member to immediately clear his desk and remove the tray of pens while he was signing the official documents. The video was recorded as part of the official coverage of historical events to provide formal recognition to the new monarch. The king's treatment of his staff drew a significant amount of criticism from social media posts criticizing the ruler's behavior. Many users posted on their socials regarding his ill treatment of the staff member. One Twitter user also wrote, "Manners cost nothing." Some Twitter users also showed their support for His Majesty, saying that the desk provided to him was very small and cluttered and could have been bigger. Moving on to the next one. Number 2. Complicated morning routine. Though it's not uncommon for someone to have specific preferences, it appears that King Charles's unusual habits have extended to his daily morning routine. According to a former royal butler, His Majesty prefers his days to begin with complete perfection. As a high-ranking royal, his staff is the one who assists him with his daily needs. Paul Burrell, the former royal butler, revealed that King Charles's clothes and baths had to be prepared beforehand in specific ways. His pajamas and shoelaces were pressed every morning. This was not all, as King Charles wanted the bath plugs to be in a certain position with the water temperature being lukewarm. The most extensive chore for the staff member was to squeeze 1 inch of toothpaste onto his brush every morning. Oh wow, that morning routine surely is complicated. Jumping on to the next one. Number 3. No job security for longtime staffers. You would think that devoting yourself to the crown would at least guarantee your job security. But this was not the case with King Charles. After the death of Queen Elizabeth II, around 100 staffers were informed that they would be let go. To add further problems, the royal staff was informed about this while they were in the process of planning His Majesty's accession to the throne. Like, they were not even given proper notice. Finding a new job is not easy, especially when you lose yours because of downsizing, not any reason of yours. Sources say that the staffers had been with the royal family for decades and had important positions to look after, including the finance office and communications team. In response to this, the staffers claimed that they were not aware that the king's reign would have affected their employment status. Most of the staff were enraged as they had worked long shifts before being handed the notice. To sort this matter, the king's new aide, Sir Clive, issued a public letter in which it was stated that due to the position change from Prince of Wales to King, the staff had to also be replaced. House Clarence also hinted that they were looking for new workers, and the terminations could not have been avoided. Moving on to number 4. Number 4. Special requirements for the food. Everyone has a different preference for eating habits, but being the monarch of the United Kingdom, you get the privilege of other people selecting the food that is best for you. In this case, it's the staff's responsibility to take care of the king's food preferences. It has been reported by several sources that King Charles has peculiar requests when it comes to food. He wants the staff to pre-warm biscuits to a specific temperature. If not, he refuses to eat them. To look after his eating habit, the staff keeps a warm pan on hand to make sure the biscuits are at the right temperature for him. It sounds like a pain, and it appears that King Charles III's diet irritates his staff. The king only eats a light breakfast and one main meal per day, skipping lunch entirely. A member of the ruler's staff revealed that King's meal choices have an impact on them as well. When the king goes on foreign tours, he skips the day without lunch, and all the staff has to do this with him. The staffer complained that he did not notice them being hungry due to this. Although this is not an uncommon practice for the staff of high-class people, there is definitely health risks present for the staff members. We cannot lie, but being a chef for King Charles would definitely be stressful. On to number 5. Number 5. State banquets restrictions. Due to the king's strange eating habits, the culinary chef in charge of the banquets has informed of being weary when creating the menu for the likes of the king. The staff has to also adapt to this change to accommodate food preferences. The chef has reported receiving unusual requests from King Charles. He does not like chocolate, coffee, or garlic. Not a fan of globally loved chocolate and coffee? That's astonishing. The head chef states that His Majesty desires a special salad with an egg that has been cooked for 2 to 3 minutes at the banquets. For tea, there are specific instructions to be followed as well. He only drinks tea with loose leaves left in the teapot. When drinking green tea, the water temperature has to be around 70 to 100 degrees. Not only that, but to make himself more comfortable at the banquets, the king brings his sea salt container and his favorite cushion to the banquets. Keeping the rhythm going, we're moving on to number 6. Number 6. All clocks need to be set correctly. Traditions are followed all over the world. The royal family in particular follows long-running customs. To maintain the royal residencies, the king appointed royal horological conservators, whose job was to maintain and set the clocks. They are required to maintain, set, and repair more than 1,000 clocks at Buckingham Palace and the other royal residencies. The staffers also need to have the historical and mechanical knowledge to care for the centuries-old antiques. Although it's a very unusual task, but nevertheless, this requires a lot of work and time. The horological workers are expected to work approximately 38 hours a week. That's approximately 6 hours per day. Moreover, the person who fills the position will be expected to balance various projects and will need to use their expertise to provide advice and guidance on maintaining and preserving the clocks. Once, an announcement from the Royal Collection Trust noted that it took a team of horological conservators more than 40 hours to change all the clocks across all of the monarch's royal residences to save daylight time. Moving on to number 7. Number 7. King's personal Grand Craver. When it comes to odd jobs, there are plenty of strange job positions to fill if you work for the king. One particularly unusual job the monarch employs cannot be applied for. The Grand Carver is a position with a unique and rich history. As the name suggests, the Grand Carver's only job is to perfectly slice meat and serve it to His Majesty and the rest of the royal family. This position does not hold great importance in today's time, but in previous times, this post was of importance as the ruler was prohibited from cutting their meat. What a strange tradition that the ruler cannot cut their meat. Like, what sense does that make, right? Despite its lack of need in modern times, the royal family retains the hereditary office of Grand Carver of England. Those interested in the job, however, should not apply because it's exclusive to one family and has been passed down from generation to generation since the 17th century. Now that's quite a fascinating tradition to pass down one's family. On to number 8. Number 8. An astronomer royal. Among the odd jobs held by the monarch, one position is that of the astronomer royal. This position is held by a prominent astronomer. According to the Royal Museum Greenwich, the royal astronomer's role is to advise the king on astronomical matters. King Charles II established the Royal Observatory Greenwich, which gave rise to this unique job. John Flamsteed was the first and most famous royal astronomer who served from 1675 to 1720. Here are some other prominent royal astronomers of the time. Edmund Halley, who served as astronomer royal from 1720 to 1743, Halley accepted the position at the age of 64 and is best known for discovering the comet that bears his name. Sir Martin Ryle, Francis Graham Smith, and Professor Arnold Wolfendale are more recent astronomer royals. Martin Rees, Baron Rees of Ludlow, is the current astronomer royal, providing his valuable services to King Charles III. The Royal Museum Greenwich also stated that the position of astronomer royal is now primarily considered honorary. Similarly, the person in charge is considered a member of the royal household. However, the astronomer royal receives only £100 per year, so those who hold the title should not give up their day jobs. Who would be happy at this job? I mean, the pay is nothing. Moving on to number 9. Number 9. The piper must wake up the king every morning. The United Kingdom's ruler has an unusual alarm clock that puts digital clocks to shame. So what is this unique wake-up call? It's a bagpipe music performed by the piper of the sovereign, a special position with the royal household tasked with waking up the ruler of the United Kingdom by playing the bagpipes. The piper can never take a day off from his job. Every day they must be prepared to play their music beneath the monarch's window for exactly 15 minutes. This one-of-a-kind position had existed since 1843, when Queen Victoria created it after hearing bagpipes in the Highlands. Pipe Major Paul Burns, the Queen's funeral piper, was recently appointed as King Charles III's personal piper. Paul rose to fame after performing a stirring rendition of Sleep, Dearie Sleep, at Queen Elizabeth II's state funeral. According to the source, Burns started his new job in early October 2022. In response to the announcement, a source told that they were pleased that the tradition would continue. They also claimed that the king was blown away by Burns's performance at his mother's funeral. However, it appears that one aspect of this custom may be altered. The music should only play at 9 a.m. even though the king wakes up much earlier. We guess the king has sentimental value attached to this tradition. Let us jump to number 10. Number 10. Rules to be followed in Buckingham Palace. Working for royal family members requires a significant time commitment, according to the royal family's official website. Many staff members who have dedicated their time and effort to work at Buckingham Palace, the primary residence of the United Kingdom's ruler. According to Insider, private secretaries, government liaison officers, and media officers work at Buckingham Palace to assist the ruler with matters of representation, public oversight, and scandal prevention. Nonetheless, reports state that there is one specific rule that staff members living and working in the residency must follow. Though this regulation was first announced during Queen Elizabeth II's reign, King Charles has not announced any changes or alterations, so it is assumed that this rule remains in effect. The rule, no pet dogs, is a recent rule that the royal staff is expected to follow. Some may be surprised by this restriction, given that the late queen was a well-known dog lover. However, when the rule was first implemented in 2018, the Lord Chamberlain cited hygiene and security as the reasons for the change. According to Forbes, royal residency employees should expect long hours and cramped quarters. According to the media, the live-in staff should expect to eat and sleep at Buckingham Palace. However, live-in employees receive additional benefits such as free meals, phones, bikes, and discretionary car leasing. So now, providing meals is included in additional benefits? How thoughtful. Alright, we have a couple more jobs remaining. We hope you all are still with us. Number 11. Royal Flag Bearer. In the United Kingdom, the royal standard is the flag used to represent the monarch, and the royal standard bearer is the person who carries it. The royal standard features the royal arms of the monarch, with different versions for the different kingdoms of the United Kingdom. King Charles has a royal flag bearer. It is another role not available for the public to apply for. It is usually carried out by a serving British military officer and a member of the Master Department. The officer appointed is usually a non-commissioned from the Household Brigade. The current flag bearer is Lance Oliver Morton, who assumed charge after King Charles was crowned. His role is to lower or raise the flag when King Charles is present or not in his residence. He also does the same for the Union flag as well. Lastly, we move on to the 12th weirdest job on the list. Number 12. Clean freak. Having a clean freak as a boss can be a difficult experience for some employees. However, it's critical to recognize that your boss's obsession with cleanliness and organization is most likely a reflection of their desire for workplace efficiency and productivity. While it can be tedious to constantly clean and organize, it is important to remember that keeping a clean and organized workspace can help to reduce stress and promote a more positive and healthy work environment. It's also critical to communicate with your employer and ensure that you understand their cleanliness and organization expectations. Working together and keeping a clean and organized workspace can help to make the palace more productive and efficient for the busy royals. But despite this, King Charles has unusual cleaning requirements. King Charles expects his staff to clean everything completely without any dust remaining. But the twist in this is that the staff members are not allowed to clean while the royals are asleep. They must wait for them to wake up. But at the same time, the king wants everything clean the minute he wakes up. This means the staff must stay on their toes and be fast at their jobs. This also leads to long working hours for the staff. We presented some of King Charles III's unusual and often ridiculous requests to his staff. With that, we've come to the end of the list. While it's understandable that a monarch of his stature would require assistance in carrying out his daily duties, some of the requests appear excessive and border on the absurd. His Majesty's demands can be quite challenging for his staff, from his complicated morning routine to his specific food preferences, and his assistance on clocks being set correctly. Furthermore, this highlights the lack of job security for long-term employees as the dismissals that occurred following the Queen's death. Some of King Charles III's requests may be viewed as unnecessary and demanding, which can lead to conflict. It is important to note, however, that we don't have a complete understanding of the context behind each request, and we should avoid making broad assumptions about the king's behavior based solely on the information provided. Overall, this provides an intriguing insight into the monarch's daily routines and the expectations of his staff. It also raises concerns about the difficulties and responsibilities that come with being a member of the royal family. This ends our video. We hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below your opinions about King Charles's ridiculous demands from his staff. Are his demands justified by being the king? Make sure to subscribe to our channel and like our video for more of such content. See you next time.